Thank you very much, and thank you, Minister. And Minister, I want to raise the massive issue of children experience substandard service in the CDNT in Carlow. I was really disappointed to see in a response to a PQ I submitted that the HSE have delayed a new children's service facility in Carlow, which was to be the new home for the CDNT, and of course, as part of that part of it was for Holy Angels as well. A funding allocation of approximately 7.1 million was identified for the project, and a design team was engaged and proceeded with the design process last year. Now, my understanding, Minister, is that the Stage 1 report from the design team in December 2023 estimated that the cost of the project would significantly exceed the funding allocation. Now, we welcomed the funding allocation. It was 7.1 million, it's on the capital plan, but now they're telling me that there isn't enough money. So the HSE Disability Service Estates are arranging stakeholders' engagement to review the project and to provide a revised scheme of the works and the funding. I would ask that this funding be urgently put together because we really need this. I just think, Minister, that investment, innovation and reform is something that we need, and if we cannot future-proof development like these, how are we prioritising our disability services? When we began implementing disability service in the HSE, I'm CHO5, the core focus of this change was to ensure that children and their families with complex needs would receive an appropriate and accessible family-centred service. But every day I'm hearing that, Minister, this is not the case, and in Carlow there is only one CDNT located in Bethany House, Barrack Street, Carlow, led by the HSE. Across this teams, Minister, there are 294 children with complex disabilities registered for clinical services. 50 of these children have active individual family supports plans. 230 children are waiting on initial contact, and I am told that filling of the vacant clinical posts across these teams is the HSE's top priority in order to address the children's needs on waiting lists and to provide clinical services to the new applicants. Now, there is a move, I believe, to an alternative model to enhance disability service in the community by way of increased support hours within the home setting, increasing capacity within current respite services and offering an alternative models of delivering respite services. But we are not serving the needs, Minister, of the children adequately. And this is just an example. My office must take at least one representation a day, make one representation a day for a child waiting on whether it's speech and language, OT, autism assessments. I have families going into debt to get their children these vital interventions. What priority is being put on the recruitment? And I do know that there is no embargo on these recruitments, and I know that there is no embargo on this, so that's important on these particular staff. I do know that when I spoke to Bernard Gloucester, and I met with him recently, he assured me that the South East Community Healthcare were being interviewed and there was recruitment of all vacant clinical posts. Now, my understanding is these interviews were completed on Friday the 16th of February 2024, and the job offers from the recruitment campaign are in train. Is there any way we can speed up this? This is so important. And in the Carlow Family Forums have commenced to provide information to families on the services they are providing and the resources they have available to them. But many families are telling me, Minister, that these are not working the way they like them. They feel that they're just a box-ticking exercise. But the next Family Forum actually was today. It was scheduled for today, and I will be contacting the family to see how they're getting on. Can I just say the CDNT in Carlow continues to receive referrals, and many end up in this form, and I need to see real action, and staff growth in this area is really important. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy. I'm taking this matter on behalf of Minister Rabbitte, and she thanks you for raising the matter. The Minister for State for Disabilities, Minister Rabbitte, is fully committed to the continued development and enhancement of our children's disability services through the Children's Disability Network teams as they seek to establish equitable access to services for all children with complex needs. The Minister acknowledges the difficulties faced by children and their families seeking to access the services of Children's Disability Network teams in CHO5. As Minister, she wishes to take this opportunity to reiterate her unhappiness at the situation and her commitment to addressing the underlying issues. Presently, there are significant challenges both nationally and globally regarding the recruitment and retention of health and social care professionals, particularly for children's disability services. While funding has been allocated, vacancy rates in the CDNTs unfortunately remain high. In terms of CHO5, HSE advise the vacancy rate of their teams stands at 41%, which equates to about 92 whole-time equivalent posts out of the approved 223 posts. This is based on the 2002 CDNT census. However, HSE advise that the latest census is expected to be available in the very near future. Minister Rabbitte can assure you that there is ongoing recruitment for vacant posts in CHO5 through the HSE's National Recruitment Services and the HSE HR at local level. The HSE launched the first nationwide CDNT recruitment campaign in January of 2024 with a theme of "Be part of our team, be part of their lives." Minister Rabbitte has been advised by the HSE that at this point in time and without prejudging the final outcome of the recruitment and selection process, CHO5 is anticipated to significantly benefit from job offers arising from this campaign. If those offers were accepted by the applicants, it would represent an approximate 25% increase in the staffing across CHO5. To sound a note of caution, the applicants concerned may have other offers from the competition, so Minister Rabbitte will await the finalisation of the process and a more detailed report from the HSE. Furthermore, Minister Rabbitte welcomes additional measures which are being progressed under the PDS roadmap to increase capacity on CDNTs, including student sponsorship programmes for HSCPs, the target of 175 therapy assistants to support healthcare professionals in delivering most effective and efficient services in environments appropriate to each child's needs, dedicated work on marketing CDNTs as a workplace of choice. While the recruitment measures are ongoing, Minister Rabbitte can advise that the HSE is driving forward several initiatives to reducing waiting times and strengthening services for children waiting. This includes sourcing assessments and interventions from private service providers and the imminent launch of the Children's Disability Service Grant Fund. The launch of this fund called for applications from disability service providers and community groups who can provide additional and innovative services such as, but not limited to, recognised sensory programmes, evidence-based therapies, respite services, clubs, evening and weekend sessions, Saturday clubs, sports sessions and additional therapy sessions for service users, such as managing challenging behaviours. There was a huge response from voluntary and community groups and private agencies, with about 495 applications for funding. The HSE intend to issue letters to applicants in the very near future to commence the process of engagement around the drawdown of funds.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. And I know Minister Rabbitte couldn't take the topical tonight, but I want to thank you for taking it. And in fairness to Minister Anne Rabbitte, I've worked very closely with her in her role as her responsibility for this, and I can say that she is totally committed to trying to recruit. And I know that one of the biggest things that I've been talking to her about recently, and I welcomed it, was when the Minister included assessments and intervention from private service providers, and I believe that did make some change. But Minister, you know, we have a long road to go. We always say, and you know, and I always speak to Minister Rabbitte saying, early intervention is the only way forward. So it is important that children that need to be assessed, that they are assessed early, and I think that to me is the most important issue going forward tonight. I welcome the fact of the recruitment. I am waiting to get the numbers for CHO5, and I welcome them tonight. And I just want to go back, even though you probably wouldn't be as aware much of our new CDNT build on the we have a huge HSE site in Carlow, and we are getting a new bill there which will also include Holy Angels. I would just ask that you would bring back to Minister Anne Rabbitte tonight for the funding on that. While I did welcome the 7.1 million, with the cost of building materials and everything now, that we now have to relook at getting extra funding for that new build. And it is important, Minister, that we get that new build. It would really make a huge difference to the children in County Carlow. And, you know, I suppose when I gave you all the figures tonight, Minister, I have families coming into me daily, and they are honestly borrowing to try and pay to get their children assessed because of the waiting times. So I would just say again, timing is crucial, and we don't want any family that's not in a position to have to go and borrow it or get maybe loan money from a parent or from a family member. We need to provide these services urgently, and all I can say is I know the Minister's committed, but you might get the Minister to come back to me on the recruitment and what's going to happen there, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Deputy. And while the recruitment and retention of staff to our Children's Disability Network teams remains a considerable challenge, Minister Rabbitte wishes to reaffirm her commitment, as well as that of the HSE and her department, to exploring all avenues in order to improve access to Children's Disability Network teams for children and their families in CHO5, and I will absolutely make Minister Rabbitte aware of all of the issues you've raised here this evening. Thank you.